Hey guys, it's Victoria with Nutrition by Victoria and welcome to another video. So in today's video, I'm going to discuss something with you that will completely change your perspective on weight loss and fat loss. You would not believe the amount of emails I'm getting on a regular basis of people saying that they need to control their calories in some kind of way in order to lose weight. Or it's I've dieted so much and I'm afraid to do this lifestyle because I don't want to gain weight. It's all centered around calories in, calories out weight loss model. And the thing that has allowed me to have the results that I do after living this lifestyle for 10 years is that I understand that it's not about calories in, calories out. It's not about creating a calorie deficit. It's not about calorie restriction, which is what every single standardized weight loss model that you Google on the internet is about. They're all about controlling your calories in some kind of way, whether it's through a low carb diet, a keto diet, a low calorie diet. Those are like the most popular. Um, uh, or it's a whole food plant-based diet. It's a low calorie density diet. It's the start maximum weight loss starch solution diet. Those diets are all based in calorie restriction, even most forms of a raw vegan diet. The whole premise of intermittent fasting is so you're eating less calories. So essentially, all of these diet programs work to lose weight, but they're programming your body to be a fat storer because there are only two physiological processes in the body that it recognizes, and that is whether it's being fed or whether it's being fasted or starved. So in these two conditions, the metabolism reacts differently. In a fasted and a starved state where the calorie intake is being restricted in some kind of way, it doesn't matter how the calories are being restricted. The body doesn't recognize whether you're restricting because you're eating a raw vegan diet and you're juice fasting and you're intermittent fasting, or if you're doing a keto diet. All it knows is that there isn't enough energy coming in to support my metabolic processes. So I need to down regulate the metabolic rate and turn on fat storage mechanisms. That's all that happens when you are in a calorie restrictive physiological situation. Now, when you're in a fed situation, the fat storage mechanisms are downregulated because the metabolism is allowed to function at a higher rate. And that just simply means a fed state, that there's enough energy coming in to support all the metabolic processes, that it doesn't need to be in some kind of conservation survival mode, which is essentially what being in a fasted or starved state is. We're programmed to store body fat in case of a famine, in the instance of a famine. Women are particularly very good at storing because we can grow life inside of our bodies. So fat storage on the body is a sign of that you're going to last during a famine, right? But everybody wants that lean physique. And being in a healthy BMI means that you are generally healthy too. Means that you're fertile, that you're getting all of the nutrients and energy that you need in your diet to live a healthy life. All of your vitals are within normal range. All of your blood works within normal range. Your blood pressure is normal. So, not that these things can't happen when you're in a calorie restrictive mode, but there is a limit to that and there are consequences. Almost every single person that I've ever discussed calorie restriction with has tried a calorie restriction diet, and they will say that I've had this negative consequences from it, because it does catabolize the body at the expense of somebody's health in order to lose weight that way. So how do you lose weight? How do you get fit? How do you get lean eating an unlimited amount of food? That is, ideally you want to be in the fed state. But if your goal is body fat loss, your goal is weight loss, and you don't want to blow up into like a 300-pound person, which is what can happen if you've come from a restrictive diet, because your body's programmed for fat storage. So everything you eat, especially if you're eating a lot of high fat foods, particularly of animal origin that are dense in saturated fats, etc., you can gain a lot of weight, and pretty quickly too. I gained weight coming from severe restriction after adopting a high carb, low fat, plant-based vegan diet. Because I went through adaptive thermogenesis. My metabolic rate was really low, and my blood work was all a mess. I was very anemic, and I needed to go through that hyperphagia, put the weight back on in order for my body to recover, for my metabolic rate to go back up, for my body to be like, hey, I'm alive again. I'm eating food. I'm doing something with it. I'm creating energy with it. I'm supporting fertility. I'm supporting all of these biological processes that are all dependent on a sufficient amount of glucose coming in every day. So that is the first thing when it comes to being in a fed state. You want to make sure that in order to support being in a fed state, which turns off or at least down regulates fat storage, you want to be eating a consistent amount of calories every day. If fat loss is your goal, you want to control the amount of fat in your diet, not the calories. By creating a fat deficit every day, you are allowing the body fat that's already stored in your body to start being utilized. How this works is that when you're consistently taking in a sufficient amount of high carbohydrate, low fat foods, fruit, rice, sugar, potatoes, sugary snacks, dried fruit, juice, those are the foods that are densest in carbohydrates. You are creating this is like kindling for your body fat that you want to set on fire, right? So you need to be taking in the carbohydrates that supports the cellular respiration process, which is the process in our cells that takes oxygen and metabolic fuel, which is glucose, and turns it into carbon dioxide and energy, and water is a byproduct of that as well. But that is the biochemical process for energy production. Our body needs to use oxygen and carbohydrate in order to create energy. So when we have those things coming in, we're able to create energy, and the body's like, yay, I can live and do all the things that I need to do, including burn fat. So if you're trying to mobilize body fat stores, then you need to be taking in enough carbohydrates so that you can create the metabolic furnace within your body in order to burn that body fat off. And honestly, you don't even need to be that active to do this. Just automatically, when you're taking in more energy, you are fidgeting more, you're walking around more, you're just doing more stuff that allows for that body fat to be burned. Like I said, it's like kindling for a log fire. That's what your carbohydrates are. The kindling gets the fire started, and then the logs, they need a lot of heat in order to stay burning. So you have to keep adding that kindling in order for your metabolic rate to stay up and burn that body fat off. I hope that this all makes sense. So just to recap, we have two physiological states. We're either supporting our fasted starved state that turns on certain metabolic processes that promote fat storage and decreases our overall metabolic rate in order to conserve energy, or we're in our fed state where we are taking in enough carbohydrate. So the fed state is completely dependent on carbohydrate calorie intake. You can be eating all the fat and protein you want, but if you're not consuming enough carbohydrate, you're actually not supporting a fed state in your body, because fat and protein actually has to be converted into glucose through a complex biochemical process called gluconeogenesis. And that actually creates a toxic condition in the body known as ketosis. And that actually signifies to the body that you are in a starved state. So you can be in a starved state, or that starved fasted state, even if you're eating tons of fat and protein. If your carbohydrate intake is insufficient, you're not in a fed state. So you want to keep your fat and protein low and your carbohydrate intake high if weight loss is your goal, because the carbs are the initiator for that metabolic burn in order to burn body fat. And then by keeping your fat really low, you're creating that fat deficit so you can have body fat loss. And then protein is also an anabolic macronutrient. If you're looking to gain weight, increase your protein. If you're looking to lose weight, you keep your protein at the recommended dietary allowance levels, which is 46 grams a day for women, 56 grams a day for men. And those are based on about 2,000 to 3,000 calorie diets. So that's it for this video. If you have any comments or questions down below, I know it's a lot of science. I tried to explain it in a way where, people will understand it. So, just know that you're either supporting your metabolism or you're hindering it. And it doesn't matter what diet you're following, as long as it's restrictive, you are going to store fat. And if you're eating sufficient carbohydrates, which your body will tell you based on your hunger if you are getting in enough. So just follow your appetite, follow those hunger cues. You might really be able to eat a lot of carbs at the beginning, and then your hunger might kind of taper off. That's kind of what has happened to me. And if you're building fitness, you're going to need to eat more carbs. Like, when in doubt, eat more carbs. That's all there is to it. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.